Paul, tell us a little bit about the growth in the organisation and like what's helped you grow over the last few years from when the organisation started.
So I'd class us still as a startup.
Yeah.
So we're small, 20 people, and I like that. I like the fact that we have that agility, that we're able to work a lot closer with the customers. I think my concern would be if we grew rapidly and created some what I would class as luxury roles, we would obviously have to pass that cost on to the customer. And I've seen organisations go down that route where products have been created, positioned, and there's been a particular price point, and then after 3 or 4 years, the company grows from a personnel perspective. They have a bigger sales team, bigger support team. They're not really adding a great deal of value, but they just feel that they need to grow that just in order to be the right type of organisation and structure and stuff. And so, and what tends to happen is those prices increase to the customer.
We've seen that a lot with some of the. I mean, I can remember some of the tools in the early days. I mean, I don't mind using Better Cloud as an example. That used to be like 5 or 10 quid. Do you know what I mean? And now it's $70-$80 or something a user. So that was a huge reason why a couple of our customers moved away. Because the cost just kept going up for them because they've been there in the early days. It's different. Maybe a company comes to it now, but I think.
And I can see the value in those kind of products and those companies, and obviously if you're able to justify the product has expanded and increased, and if you want the expansion and you're taking advantage of all the features, then you should be paying a premium or an increased cost. However, our goal, our aim is to create a Google Workspace management tool focused on Google Workspace. So we're not going to be expanding it massively into different areas. And so I think the price that we've got today is the price that we'll probably keep for a long, long time. And so I need to then create a business around that and grow with our customers as opposed to double the price overnight in order to create
more revenue,
and more
happy.
Absolutely, So we have no investors. We're bootstrapped.
But those things that companies have to do, where they have to bring up the cost because they have to keep the investors happy. They have to show revenue growth.
Yeah. So as a company, like I say, we're a startup. We don't have salespeople, which is something which is unusual. I just find that because the product is being sold to IT administrators, it needs to be a more technical conversation. You need to have somebody who understands the issues that person is trying to address. And so that's why we don't really have a big sales team going out and trying to promote it. So it's all done through social media, this kind of stuff. Partners are critical for us because we rely on the partner to do the educating of potential customers, and we can then come to the customer and then address certain challenges that they've got, and also add additional value where something isn't being done in the product. So again, being a small organisation, we can make those decisions very, very quickly. So if a customer or a partner comes to us and says, can you do this? The answer is more often than not, absolutely. And again, that goes back to my kind of mindset of how can we fix people's problems? Is it feasible to fix a problem? And also, if that individual's having that problem, other people are also having the problems. Now, we won't do something that is absolutely specific and niche for that particular customer. And we have in the past just turned around and said that's just not us.
And that's okay.
Which is okay. You've got to be clear. You've got to be transparent. And so I think as long as we are transparent with our customers, as long as we are transparent about our pricing policy, I think it works out very, very well for both partners and the customers.
And do you have any examples of, can you remember a feature that maybe wasn't in the tool that a customer came along and said, it'd be great if it did X or Y?
Probably every single feature.
All of them.
All the features. Again, I'm not great at this kind of stuff. I fall into these things. Again, lucky situations. We've always been a believer of, build certain things and we will attract customers. Build it and they will come. But you get to a certain stage with a product that my ideas can only take it so far. And so we get a lot of feedback from customers. We created a Slack channel. We created a Google chat channel, and we had immediate feedback from customers. You know, the Google group, creation of dynamic Google groups, customer feature. In fact, we have a customer in the UK, they're a charity, and one of the things that Patronum is used for is a internal directory. So an end user can log in and they can do a search and they can see who is in their organisation. Now this charity is about 2,000 people in the organisation. So because they're working remotely, they don't know or see certain people. So they can log into Patronum and they can do a search for, you know, X, Y, and Z, and the details will appear. Now, one of the things that we wanted to do, or we did, and we added to Patronum, was we looked at what Google were doing from I think they call it tenure. How long have you been in the Google system for? So we added that feature into Patronum, which actually upset a number of people in different organisations, because they were saying, I've been working for this organisation longer than I've had Google. So the tenure was, you know, might have been incorrect from their perspective. So what we did is we added a schema extension, which was called start date. And so now those individuals can put the start date in, which is, you know, might be in the 70s when they join the organisation. And so that will then reflect into the application. So now they've got a proper start date being displayed. A very, very simple thing, but it absolutely made these individuals feel part of the system, and the fact that we were listening to them. And so great. You know.
And do you have any kind of big customer wins over the last couple of years that you can share with us? Or maybe if you can't share the name because of NDAs, maybe the size and industry? Yeah,
I can share types of customers. So our customers fall into multiple kind of categories. So we have the big enterprise customers, and they're always nice to win. So we've got a lot of customers in the US that are in the 10,000 seat area. As I mentioned, retail organisations, etc. In the UK and throughout Europe, our biggest customer, which was a great win from our perspective, was a customer in Europe, about 20,000 seats. They came to us. They were working with a competitor of ours, and we went in, approached them, and just turned around and said, "This is the price. Our price is on the website. You've got 20,000 users. 20,000 users times the price on the website. That's the price you pay." The other organisation was negotiating, and you know, started high, and then kind of said, "Well, we'll offer discounts and all that kind of stuff." And the company just didn't like that approach.
Lack of transparency.
Lack of transparency from day one. And so we won the deal. We won their business, and they've been a great customer. I have regular calls with them. They feedback certain things that they would like to see in the product, and we turn those around very, very quickly. In fact, the reason why we won the deal, in addition to being transparent and, you know, our knowledge of the issues that they were facing, was they wanted a particular feature in the product, and other organisations that were bidding just said, "Well, you know, it's not something that's on our roadmap, so no, we can't do it." I looked at it and thought, well, it does feel like it's something that other organisations would make benefit of, and it was easy, you know. So if something's simple to do, then from my perspective, why wouldn't we do it? So we added it into the product. We turned it around within, you know, a month or so, you know, with testing and all that kind of stuff. Rolled it into products, and they were like delighted. You know, the fact that we were initially cheaper, transparent. You know, technically we understood what the challenges was, and they were able to come to us and request things and listen to what they wanted, and then deliver within a very, very short amount of time. So they've been a great customer of ours. But we do have a lot of, you know, decent sized organisations using. You know, some of your customers are a decent size that are using our platform. But we also have a lot of, you know, tiny organisations. 10 users, you know, sub 500 users, and they come to us for different reasons. Well,
I think like the signature management thing, like that's there for almost everybody.
It fits everybody. Signature management, contact sharing, the small organisations.
You could see the small organisations
absolutely love that.
Not less of the onboarding, offboarding, the
completely.
management stuff.
And I've always been a believer of, the big customers are great, and they're a nice thing. It helps with morale internally. People know the brand and they go, oh, look, we've got X, Y, and Z.
And with other customers.
And with other customers, because you can relate to them. And even if you're a smaller organisation, you know that...
I know that big organisation is.
Exactly. But our mantra internally is one customer, one vote, so to speak. Yeah. So if a customer has a feature idea, it doesn't matter on the size of the organisation. If the customer has an issue that we need to address, it doesn't matter on the size of the organisation. We will deal with the customer as a customer as opposed to, well, it's a giant organisation. We need to make sure that we address or give them the feature first. So I've always been, maybe that's, from a business perspective, might not be the most sensible thing to do, but I really believe that one customer, one vote type of approach. And that serves us well from feature requesting perspective. And we have a website where people just put feature requests on there and people vote them up and down, and we pick the top ones and deliver on them.